Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. You know it, you've seen it a million times. It's one of the most famous paintings in the world. But hiding right there in plain sight is a question that kind of challenges everything we think we know about this masterpiece. Where are the women? Okay, let's get into it.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the hidden absence itself. Then, we'll cover the traditional historical explanations and Leonardo's own choices. After that, we'll dive into some modern ideas that are challenging the canvas. And finally, we'll talk about what it all means beyond the painting.
All right, so let's just set the scene. We're talking late 15th century. Leonardo da Vinci painted this thing between 1495 and 1498. It's supposed to capture that super dramatic moment where Jesus says, "Hey, one of you is going to betray me." But for us, the real drama starts with who's not in the room.
I mean, really look at it. Take in the faces, the reactions, all that tension. It's a room full of men. So, is that just how it was? A historical detail? Or was it a deliberate choice to exclude someone? This one question turns a famous painting into a genuine mystery. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? The lack of women here isn't just some blank space on a wall. Nope. It's a reflection of the culture, the rules, and the power dynamics of the time. And wow, has it sparked a debate that's been raging ever since.
So, to figure out why this painting looks the way it does, we have to start with the by-the-book reasons. You know, the historical, biblical, and artistic rules that Leonardo was playing by.
The traditional explanation really rests on three big pillars. It all starts with the source material, of course. Then you have to look at the societal norms of the time the event actually happened. And finally, you have to consider the artistic trends that were popular when Leonardo was actually painting.
And when you go back to the source, the Bible, it's pretty clear. The Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, which are the main play-by-plays of this event, they only mention Jesus and his 12 male apostles. The Gospel of John tells the same story. From a purely scriptural view, Leonardo was just being true to the text.
And this all-male guest list totally lines up with the cultural context of the time. Back in first-century Jewish society, important religious meals like this were, well, they were guys' nights for the most part. Women were generally expected to be in the domestic sphere, not at the table for these big public rituals.
Okay, so we've got the text and we've got the historical context. But Leonardo wasn't just a copy machine. He was an artist making very specific, very conscious choices. Choices that carried a ton of weight.
And this gets to a really critical point. His decision to paint only the male disciples wasn't some accident. It was an active choice that strengthened the established story of male leadership within the church, which was a hugely powerful idea during the Renaissance.
This whole idea is deeply connected to a core belief called apostolic succession. The concept is pretty straightforward. It's the doctrine that the church's authority was passed directly from Jesus to his 12 male apostles and then down through the generations. So by showing only them at the table, Leonardo is visually stamping that idea right onto the wall.
But that's just one side of the story. Because in more modern times, a lot of people, scholars, historians, you name it, have started asking some really provocative questions that challenge all those traditional ideas.
This is where it gets really interesting. What if the answer isn't that a woman is missing? What if a woman was there the whole time, hidden right in plain sight? Now that question changes everything.
And this leads us to the most famous and, the most controversial theory out there, the Mary Magdalene hypothesis. This theory suggests that the young, almost feminine-looking figure to Jesus' right, that's not the Apostle John. It's actually Mary Magdalene.
So you've got this major disagreement. On one hand, the traditional view says, that's John, the beloved disciple, and artists in the Renaissance often painted him with soft, androgynous features. But the other side argues, no way, that's Mary Magdalene, an incredibly important follower whose role was intentionally minimized by the early church.
Now, this whole theory is a big part of a wider feminist critique. From this perspective, it doesn't even matter if a woman is hidden in the painting or just flat out absent. Either way, the artwork itself reflects how women have been historically marginalized in religion. It's a call to re-examine these old stories and push for a more inclusive way of seeing both history and faith.
So, where does all of this leave us? Well, the beauty and maybe the frustration of The Last Supper is that there is no single easy answer. It really all depends on the lens you're using to look at it.
Let's just quickly recap. Through the biblical lens, the answer is simple. No women were mentioned, so no women were painted. Through the societal lens, the cultural rules of the time, both in the first century and the Renaissance, just didn't include women in these events. The artistic lens says, hey, Leonardo was just following the rules of religious art.
And finally, the feminist lens says the absence is the point. It's a powerful symbol of exclusion.
And that's really the big takeaway here. That empty space at the table wasn't a mistake or an oversight. It is a powerful, complicated reflection of history, of theology, and of a debate about power that has been going on for centuries. The painting's true genius might just be its ability to hold all these conflicting ideas at the very same time.
So the next time you see this masterpiece, and you'll see it, it's everywhere, you won't just see a painting. You'll see a 500-year-old question staring back at you. Is it a faithful record of history, a product of its time, or a secret code just waiting for you to crack it? Now, what do you see?